you all hear and see me? Give me a yes. Give me a yes, guys. Or give me hello if you can all hear and see me.
Hello,
yes.
hello, everybody.
Oh, I can hear an echo. Yes, I can hear an echo. Can anybody else
Echo.
hear and see me?
Hello,
yes.
hello, everybody.
Oh, I can hear an echo. Yes, I can hear an echo. Can anybody else hear? Anyone else hear an echo? Because all I can hear is
hello, everybody.
Oh, I can hear an echo. Yes, I can hear an echo. Can anybody else hear? Okay. Okay, can you all hear me better now? Can you all hear me better now? Is the echo still there or is the echo gone? I'm hoping the echo is gone. I can no longer hear myself. Yes, fixed it. Yes, fixed the IT problem on the spot. So, yes, much better. Fantastic. Okay, so hello, everybody. How are you? How are you today, guys? How are you? How are you? How did you find today? Tell me how you are. Did you find, did you pass the exam? Did you do better than expected, or did you not do better than expected? Because in today's session, what we're going to go through is going to go through some tips, advice, and some motivation and some support for you. Fantastic. Zara says, amazing, amazing. Oh, you say it feels surreal. Feels surreal. Fantastic. Nicole says happy. Fantastic. Fantastic. Congratulations to all of you guys. Congratulations. Congratulations. You passed and you are pharmacists. How does it feel that you've woken up this morning and you're no longer a trainee pharmacist and you are now a pharmacist? How does it feel, guys? How does it feel? Because I remember when it was my exam 2 years ago, and literally to this day, I could not even believe that I even passed the exam. Okay. So it says it feels amazing, fantastic, fantastic. Okay. And if you failed, okay, if you failed, do not let this beat you. Okay. Do not let this beat you. Okay. If you failed. Okay. Because this is what I always said to myself. How many of you, has anyone actually went to university and they sat an exam? They didn't do the exam very well. They didn't pass the exam, but they passed when they resat the exam. Has this actually happened? Has this actually happened to any of you guys? Has this happened to any of you at all? If you went to uni, you sat an exam, you failed the exam, but then you actually passed the reset. Exactly. Okay, because sometimes, okay, I always relate this to J.K. Rowling. Who here is a Harry Potter fan? Who here is a Harry Potter fan, guys? Does anybody know how many times J.K. Rowling was actually rejected before Harry Potter blew up into a massive, massive thing? Okay, she was rejected 12 times and she did not let that beat her. Okay, she was rejected 12 times with her books. She didn't let that beat her. Okay, and she carried on. Okay, she was dedicated, stuck in what she believed in, and look how successful she is now. Okay. Yes, and it's true, okay? And so this session is all about, kind of like supporting you guys, motivating you guys, and giving you kind of like that support. Okay, fantastic. Okay, dokies. So can everybody see kind of like the next slide? Can you just give me a 1 if you can see the next slide, guys, just so I know that everything's working absolutely perfectly fine. Okay, so first of all, congratulations to all of you who have passed. Okay, congratulations. Okay, well done, well done. You are now pharmacists. Okay, so just so we can do some quick tips in terms of your next steps. Okay, so for those of you who have actually passed, it's now time for you to register as a pharmacist. Okay, and my top tips for you are these. Okay, make sure you get some good indemnity insurance. Okay, I always like the indemnity insurance from the Pharmacy Defence Association, so the PDA, okay? And that means you can also, optional, but you can get free PDA union membership as well, okay? Some companies require you to have a DBS, okay? So what you do, just go onto the website, apply for the DBS, need the enhanced version, and to save yourself time and money, if you do the update service, you pay like £13 every single year, and then your DBS is always going to be up to date, okay? CPPE courses, okay? So CPPE courses is really important. Even if you, let's say, for example, you're not sitting your exam till November, or you're waiting to essentially, you're going to resit your assessment in November or June next year, for example, CPPE courses are really important for your clinical practice, okay? So you find that there's lists from employers and which ones are actually particularly needed. So some good ones are actually going to be your sepsis awareness training, your minor ailments, things like EHC, so emergency hormonal contraception, discharge medicine service. All of those things are going to be on your CPPE, and you can actually just do those and actually build up your portfolio that way. Okay, and whenever you've actually passed the exam today, or whether you pass the exam at a later date, never be afraid to look something up if you're never too sure. Okay, how many of you are quite nervous walking into the pharmacy on your first day and actually being the responsible pharmacist, whether you're going to be working in the community pharmacy, hospital, GP practice? How many of you are feeling a bit nervous about that? Give me a 1 if you're feeling a bit nervous. Because essentially it's quite a big day, okay? I remember I thought, oh my God, I'm actually going to be the responsible pharmacist. That is literally what I thought, okay? And I was so worried about it, okay? But you just take it in your stride and you will absolutely be fine. Yeah, exactly. It is a huge shift in your mindset, completely huge shift, okay? But you will get there, okay? And it does take some time to adjust, okay? Don't put pressure on yourself, okay? To hurry up and check prescriptions or anything like that, okay? Keep to your waiting times and all of that. You'll be perfectly fine, okay? And also the most important thing is, if you didn't pass or you know someone who didn't pass, okay, don't lose hope, okay? Here are some tips for you, okay? If you actually had, if you had your results through and you find that you didn't actually do so well than what you actually expected, okay, take some time to grieve, okay? Let your emotions out, okay? That is really important, okay? At the end of the day, one exam, okay, it may seem like it is the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, okay? Do not let a fail result make you feel like a failure, because you're not. You got your master's degree at university. You spent 4 years working your bums off, getting that master's degree, and you graduated, okay? Do not let that fail result make you feel like a failure, okay? Value the effort over the outcome, okay? Because sometimes, okay, not everyone passes the first time, okay? Not everybody passes the first time when they sit the Gphc exam, okay? Exam anxiety is a massive thing, okay? How many of you suffer with exam anxiety? I definitely do, okay? I am an absolute mess when it comes to exams. Literally, I wouldn't sleep the night before. I will be shaking, my nerves will be at me, and I will feel like my brain actually cannot function, okay? Even things like that. It doesn't matter if you study so hard, but if you suffer with anxiety, some things like that can actually impact you, okay, on the day of the exam, okay? It could be down to technical problems as well, okay? So some trainees experienced some technical problems in the past, and they found obviously that impacted them as well. So value the effort that you have put in over the outcome. And also, most importantly, is don't compare yourself to others, okay? Success will come to you, okay? Do not compare yourself to others, okay? You may feel really, distraught and sad, okay, that, and absolutely devastated that you didn't get the results that you wanted, okay? But the success will come to you, okay? The success will come to you whether you decide to resit the exam, okay? or whether you decide to go down a different career path, which is completely anything up to you. Okay. And I know it's much easier said than done, but don't keep overthinking about it. Okay. Pick yourself up because you can do it. Okay. You can do it. You got through 4 years of university. You will be very, very successful. Okay. And I'm also a great believer that everything happens for a reason. Okay. Just because you may not didn't pass this time, okay, doesn't mean that you won't be successful in the future. And also because you have 3 attempts as well. Okay. You have 3 attempts. Okay. Some trainees in the past managed to get a 4th attempt, but you have 3 attempts. Okay. And that's so, so important for you to remember that as well. Okay. So, so important. You have 3 attempts. It will be okay in the end. And even if you were, kind of like quite worried, or, if it's like either coming up to your 3rd sitting, okay, there was people today that passed on their 3rd attempt. Okay. There was people that passed on their 3rd attempt. Okay. And also in terms of how many of you are actually going to resit the exam? Give me a 2 if you're going to resit the exam, guys. Whether you're going to do it in November or June, because if you're going to resit the exam, doesn't necessarily mean, okay, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have to do it straight away, okay? If you feel like you're not ready for November, don't do it for November. You can actually defer it to June if needs be, because you've got that 8-year period, okay? You have got that 8-year period, okay, between you've got that 8-year period obviously come up between starting university and actually registering. Okay. So the most important thing is that you need to give yourself time to reset. Okay. Give yourself that time to grieve. Okay. Give yourself that time to grieve. Give yourself that time to reset. Do what makes you happy. Okay. And if you are going to reset, have a structure for the revision for your next attempt, okay? Because there's a lot of psychology behind learning, okay? A lot of psychology about it. If you essentially you're sitting your calculation exam first thing in the morning, so do 2 hours of calculation in the morning, then do your clinical MEP and OTC stuff in the afternoon, and make sure you have regular breaks as well, so you don't go into that information overload, okay? And say what went well, okay? What went well and what didn't go well, okay? So guys, write on here what went well for you in the exam and what didn't go so well for you in the exam. Okay. And if you're feeling lost, I don't want you to feel lost, okay? Because if it was your last attempt, okay, I've also got some tips on here I've also got some tips in terms of other career options for you, okay? Because essentially you've got a master's degree, you can use your pharmacy degree to go down different paths as well. Okay, so for any of you guys that are actually going to be resitting, what went well, guys? What went well and what didn't go so well? Okay, if you don't want to write it here, you can write it down, in your own time at home. So essentially this can be a structure for your revision, so you know what areas to focus on. Okay, and never, ever, ever question your ability. Okay, never question that, because you will do it. You will do it. Whether you want to be working as a community pharmacist, whether you even want to register as a pharmacist in the first place, or whether you want to go down to a different career option. Okay, never question your ability, because you will get there and you will be successful in whatever you wish to do. Okay, so is there anyone else here who was actually on their last attempt for the GBHC exam? Okay, Mariam, okay, so it was your last attempt, okay? And the most important thing is I don't want you to lose hope, okay? I really, really do not want you to lose hope, okay? So I'm going to tell you a story about one of my friends. One of my friends sat the GBHC exam. She failed the exam. It was her first sitting, and she lost so much hope that she didn't want to resit the exam again, okay? She took a job in a pharmaceutical company. Okay, she took a job in the pharmaceutical company, and she's now working in America for this pharmaceutical company, and she's really, really successful in what she does. Okay, so don't feel like you have wasted anything. Okay, so when I spoke to some trainees today and they said they feel like they've wasted all of kind of like these years, okay, you haven't. Okay, you absolutely haven't wasted this time. Okay, so in terms of kind of like other options, so like I said, like one of my friends went to a pharmaceutical company. Okay, if you're interested in working in a pharmaceutical company, the pharmaceutical companies, I think, like I've seen in the CPC, okay, or the CPC and also the pharmacy show, companies like GSK are always there, and they always have like an option for career, okay, for basic kind of like career options. Okay, inquire about it if it's something that you're interested in. Okay, you don't necessarily, if you look at the job descriptions, you don't need to be a registered pharmacist. They just require you to have a pharmacology degree or equivalent, okay? Which obviously your MPharm degree will actually be equivalent for that, okay? So I don't want you to feel lost, okay? Do not want you to feel lost, okay? You know, kind of like my thoughts and prayers are with you, okay? If you're obviously going to be resitting the exam, okay, if you're going to be resitting the exam, or, you know, kind of like it's been your third attempt, okay? Yeah, exactly. You've got your whole life ahead of you. And the most important thing is don't forget about who you are, okay? Don't let an exam define you, okay? It is tough, okay? It is tough, okay? And also, exactly, never give up, okay? Never, ever, ever give up, okay? You know, kind of like grieve, let your emotions out, okay? And, you know, kind of like dust yourself off, okay? And be absolutely smash absolutely anything, okay? Anything that comes in your way in life, go and smash it, okay? So, in terms of, has that helped you guys so far in terms of, okay, has that helped you guys in terms of about what essentially you can do next, okay? If you're feeling kind of like, you know, kind of like quite devastated about kind of like the exam, okay, you will get there in the end, okay, whether you're going to reset or go down to kind of like a different career option.
Georgina, can I jump in
Yeah.
1 second for Miriam, just because I know how important this is? I was just going to say this for Miriam because I know she's mentioned she's done the exam for the final time. And I'm so happy that you use an example of your friend because I've been doing this for so many years and I've got quite a number of examples of trainees. And one comes to my mind. She failed the exam about 4 years ago. It was her final attempt. Right? She was totally devastated. She moved on, got a new job. Well, she trained as a physician assistant. She's gone on to do so well in a pharmaceutical company. I was speaking to her a few days ago, and I'll honestly tell you, when I compare what she's got now, right, compared to what we get as pharmacists, in terms of the job, the satisfaction, and everything, there is no doubt in my mind that she is in a far better place. And the one thing she said to me was that when this happened to her, she felt so disappointed. But when she looks back, this was probably to her, in her own words, the best thing that happened to her, right? Because not only did she get stronger, she moved on, got married, lovely kids now, fantastic job. And it all goes back to the same thing you're saying. Like pharmacy is just one pathway out of millions. But the good thing is you are already successful if you've got an MPharm degree. That is the biggest success because there are now so many opportunities and so many doors that open up to you. So as Georgina said, do not let an exam define you. If it comes to your life, whether you're going to be successful, I promise you 100%, many companies out there that are looking for pharmacists with a pharmaceutical degree to work in some prestigious roles in pharmaceutical industry. Right? So there's so much you can do with your degree, with your knowledge, with your skills. So no time has been wasted. And I promise you that if you continue being positive and you use those skills and you go out there, you will find many careers that are equally or even more rewarding than pharmacy. So be positive, Miriam. We're here for you, and just keep going, because this is just the beginning for you. All right, this is the beginning. And there are many pharmacists that actually leave pharmacy to go into different careers later on. So we know it's very disappointing, and I agree it's very tough when you've worked so hard to become a pharmacist, but everything happens for a reason. And you may not see the reason now because everything seems so dark, but a few years from now, this may be a whole new chapter in your life that you're going to look back on and you're going to go, I'm happy with everything that happened in my life because it made me stronger and it's brought me now to a better place. Okay, so be positive, Miriam. And that's it for me. Back to you, Davina.
No, it's 100% true, because my friend said that she would never, ever, ever work in a community pharmacy ever again. Like, she's happy in her job role. Okay, she's really, really happy. She lives the big life in New York. I'll be like, that's it. I was like, that's it, girl. You're living in New York, like, you know, kind of like earning the big bucks. Okay, and then it's like, it's me still working in the community pharmacy. You know, kind of like, it doesn't necessarily. Okay. So you don't necessarily need to have passed the Gphc exam to be successful. Okay, you got your Master's of Pharmacy degree. Whatever you decide to do in your life, you can absolutely smash it. And I think that's the bonus about the pharmacy degree. Okay, you're not stuck to work in a community pharmacy. You're not stuck to work in a GP practice. Okay, you can work in all sorts of different fields. Okay, so for example, kind of like in pharmaceutical companies, you can start working in medicines information, or whether you want to go to like the retail kind of like part of it, you know, kind of like the sales, for example. You can also be a part of the clinical trials team. Okay. You can also be involved in terms of like quality assurance. Okay. Which my dad told me is actually very, very interesting, about talking about quality assurance. He's done it for aircraft engineering. And also you can actually be a manufacturing process technician. Okay. And you look at the pay and it's just like, damn, that pay is amazing.
Yeah, and the benefits. The benefits are amazing. Georgia, yesterday I did a live with Zaya, and he works in a pharmaceutical company as an analyst. And what he said was, can you believe, he said his boss was speaking to him, and the boss said to him, I wish we had more like you with MPharm degrees in pharmacy, because they have many employees that come from different backgrounds but not pharmacy. But they're actually looking for MPharm degrees in pharmacy because they really value that degree more than any other degree in that specific company. So, Miriam, this is the beginning. I promise this is the beginning. Like, nothing means anything apart from the meaning that you give to it, right? Anything can happen to you, but what that means is the meaning that you give to it. Is this the end or is this the beginning? Miriam, this is the beginning, and I promise you, with a good attitude, with a good personality, with the hard work, with your skills, the determination, you will make a huge success of yourself. And people that also come back to you and go like, wow, Miriam, I wish I had your job, sort of thing. So keep going, keep going.
Yes, no, definitely. You'll be earning those big bucks in the pharmaceutical company.
A lot of job satisfaction.
Yes. And then I've heard they do very good pension schemes. Okay, so they look after their employees very, very well, I've heard. Okay, so no, I hope that actually kind of like that starts to make you feel better. Okay, although kind of things are going to seem very, very dark and you feel like you can't actually currently move on from the result that you've seen this morning. Okay, but you know, light is actually at the end of the tunnel. Okay, it may not seem like it now, but there is. Okay. And I think the most important thing is to don't forget about who you are as a person, and also to keep yourself motivated as well. Okay, so the good positive attitude, like Marvin said, keeping yourself obviously kind of like motivated. Okay, you can actually go down obviously kind of like different career paths. Okay, and even so, you can still work in a hospital. Okay, without actually being as a registered pharmacist, you can still do that. It is still possible. It is still possible. Like, I remember one of my friends who she left the university kind of like due to health reasons, and she still works in the hospital. She works I think it's in St George's Hospital, the one that's always on TV in the TV program. I think it's St. George's. I think she works there, okay, and she absolutely loves it, okay. So it's like, you know, not everything is lost just because of the Gphc exam result. There's lots and lots of career options for you.
And
Okay?
also, I'm going to mention to Miriam, please send us an email, right? Because we've got a very good ambassador with Prayer Shortcuts, Georgina Amy. She's really good. She's so supportive, and she's currently working in a pharmaceutical industry. So she's got a pharmacy degree, but she never worked in pharmacy. So she did it and she wanted to get the degree, but she always chose to stay in industry because she has so many good opportunities. So Miriam, if you're interested, please send us an email later on, and we could put you in touch with Amy, and she's definitely going to guide you, and she's going to show you a lot of opportunities that are out there for you. That will be so rewarding.
Fantastic. Okay, so guys, okay, how are we feeling currently at the moment? If your result obviously kind of like wasn't the best, you know, wasn't what you were expecting this morning, okay, are you feeling a little bit better now about it? Okay, it is going to take some time, obviously, kind of like for you to kind of like to process kind of like what has happened as well. Okay, so hopefully, obviously, kind of like hopefully kind of like with the advice, you know, kind of like that, you know, light is at the end of the tunnel, whether it's your first attempt, second attempt, or third attempt. Okay, light is still at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so many people don't pass the exam on their first attempt. Okay, and for those who did pass, congratulations. Okay, well done. Okay, and if you haven't passed just quite yet, okay, your congratulations, your success, you already are successful. Okay, but you will get to that point in your life, obviously, kind of that you go, I've made it. Absolutely, you've made it. I've done it. Okay, and I can't wait for absolutely every single one of you to actually get to that point.
Even talking about failing the third attempt, I did a video a few years ago with Payal. I don't know if you guys have seen the video with Payal on our channel. Payal failed the exam 3 times and she passed at her 4th attempt. But the thing is that the thing about it is sometimes when you fail an exam, you become the most inspirational person when you actually pass that exam. So I've listened to feedback from so many trainees over the past years, and I'll tell you the truth. The one trainee where I get a lot, the one pharmacist that I get a lot of emails from trainee pharmacists mentioning how much that pharmacist has inspired them has always been Payal. And the reason why she's the most inspirational is because she failed this exam 3 times. Right? So sometimes when you fail the exam, this might be the greatest pain. But if you're someone that likes giving back and helping people, I promise you, if you pass that exam, you'll still be the most inspirational because now you'll be able to relate with many other trainees that have failed the first time and the second time that are going through challenges because you've been there, you've done that. And sometimes that will be your biggest blessing. So sometimes you feel like you may not know why this has happened, but if you're always positive, you can use this to be a very good strength for yourself. Say to yourself, I'm going to pass next time. And when I pass, I'm going to make sure that I help as many trainees out there that have failed the first or the second time and comfort them. And you'll notice how much difference that's going to make in your life. So much fulfillment for yourself. So definitely, please don't lose hope. Don't feel like you're not you're a failure or anything. That's not true. Because you've got a master's degree, you've worked so hard all these years. We all respect you. We all admire the courage. We know how much work has been put in, and an exam cannot define you. Right? Most of you have worked excellently in the pharmacy. You could actually do the job even better than some pharmacists that have passed. So when it comes to your abilities and your skill, you're probably a better pharmacist than even some of us that have been pharmacists for many years. So you have to remember that failing an exam doesn't define you. Look at your skills. Can you work as a pharmacist? Like you're not qualified, but on a day-to-day basis, you've been working the pharmacy, they've been relying on you, you've been helping out, you've been making a difference. So it is you, and you have every single thing to make yourself proud, right? So you have those skills, and with those skills, you will succeed in anything you do. Over to you, Georgina.
No, but it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. So I think like when you work in so I would have to say my trainee pharmacist that I worked with over the past year, okay, he's absolutely fantastic. absolutely fantastic, and trust me, definitely better than some of the pharmacists that I have seen when I've actually put my prescriptions in. So it's very true. You need to think about your skills, okay? Just think about your skills. You are all absolutely fantastic because you've got your master's degree, okay? And no matter what you choose in life, you will get there, and you will be absolutely a-okay. Okay, so if today wasn't the result that you was expecting, you will get there. Okay, so essentially I always think of it as like, it's not the sprint. I always think it's not a 100-meter sprint like the Usain Bolt, you know, kind of like needs to do a Mo Farah kind of like marathon. Okay, you will get there in the time, obviously, kind of like that, you know, kind of like the path allows you to get there. Okay, if you didn't pass on your first time, but your friend did pass on their first time, or vice versa, okay, it doesn't make you like a worse person or a worse pharmacist because you didn't pass on your first go. Okay, that doesn't mean that at all. Okay, it's just, you know, kind of like you didn't pass on your first time. It could have been due to all sorts of reasons. It could be due to technical difficulties, it could be down to health reasons, or it could be that the anxiety just got the better of you in the exam, because, you know, with exam anxiety, what happens is that the cortisol shoots up in your body. It kind of like, your cortisol basically goes straight to your prefrontal cortex, you know, kind of like, it's kind of like blocks out the prefrontal cortex. Okay, and there's that things that kind of like, it impacts your memory recall. Exam anxiety is a massive thing. It doesn't mean just because you couldn't recall it in the exam doesn't mean you couldn't recall it in real life. It's basically what the stress, you know, kind of like what the stress and, you know, kind of like of the stressful and the pressure that you're under in that situation, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Like,
And
honestly, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Marvin.
yes, and I was gonna say, I don't know whether things might change in pharmacy. Obviously, we hear rumors, but we don't know yet. Okay, but I know that there's been times that's been mentioned about even looking at different ways to assess students, right? Because the exam may not be the best way to assess pharmacists, and these discussions are going on, right? And that's because there are other ways. There are many people that may not pass an exam, but they're very good at OSCEs. They're very good in practice. They're very good in actually doing things. But in the exam itself, it is tough. Now, please do not say to yourself you're not good enough or you're useless because maybe you did not pass an exam. Because I promise you, if someone took you with somebody else that may have passed the exam to actually do the job, you probably turn out being better. Okay. And I think even the Gphc and ways that are looking at changing pharmacy, they're looking at exams. The exam is just one of the ways they assess, but they know fully well that there are many other ways to assess students. So we don't know how pharmacy is going to change, but perhaps down the line, there may not be an exam. We don't know, but there may not be an exam. But why? Because gradually you start to see that an exam never defines or doesn't, it's not a true reflection. One of the reasons why we have an exam is so that at least you could be on the register and all the patients out there are satisfied to know that you have that qualification. But if you speak to any tutor, if you speak to any contractors, if you speak to GPHC, many of them are going to tell you, for us, it's not just about that exam. It's about those skills. It's about that person. It's about the interpersonal skills. It's about what they can actually do in the pharmacy. All right. So give yourself that credit to know that you can do all these things. But you may have not passed the exam, but that should not define you in any single way. You will go on and you will be successful. You get judged based on your personality, your skills, and what you can bring to the workplace, the value that you can bring to the workplace. That's it. That's it.
Smashing. And then Manjot said, if it, you know, kind of like, if anyone's failed, I'm telling you that this might not seem like it right now, but everything happens for a reason. And I have to agree with that, okay? Because sometimes if you fail in an assessment, okay, and then you pass it the second time or third time, it makes you a stronger person. It probably will make you a stronger person, you know, in terms of kind of like your personality, kind of like your skills, or kind of like, or just you generally kind of like as a pharmacist. So 100%, okay, everything happens for a reason, okay, and it may not seem like it right now, but you will get there, and then you also get the success that you all deserve.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And it's good we're having these conversations because as Georgina said, there's many of you that have passed, and congratulations. And that's why we're trying to say congratulations to all of you that have passed. Also, there's some of you that have not made it, but whatever happens, it's important that you always stay positive. And I'm going to say this to you, Miriam. I don't know what your situation is like, but it's also worth trying to put an appeal and see whether you could get another attempt, right? It's always good to look at all your options. This may not be the end. There may be other opportunities. It may be going to somewhere else where you're going to be successful. It may be looking at putting an appeal for different reasons. You could be successful there as well. So please never give up. Just know that whatever you go into, just have that personality to know that you're going to bounce back. And it's normal to feel down. It's very tough when this happens. You're going to go through a period where you cannot fight it. Just let it go through. Go through the emotions, go through the heartbreak, go through the tears and everything you have to go through. And well done for coming on here, because it shows that you're still trying to do something. And that's the most important. You're reaching out to people, you're reaching out here, and that's what's important during times like this. And then once you get over it in the next week or so, then start focusing on where to go next. And when you start looking at this, you have a lot of opportunities. You're going to look back at this and you're going to go, as Georgina said, this only made you stronger. You're a better person. And Georgina and I, we passed the first time. While Georgina passed the first time, I passed the first time. We inspire a lot of students, but we've never experienced what it's like to fail the Gphc exam. So a person that will be better at inspiring someone that has failed will be someone that has failed as well. So although we are doing this, we know fully well that we are limited in terms of that experience. And that's when you have people like yourself. Sometimes that's why I say, if you fail the exam the first time or the second time, this could end up being your greatest strength, because you'll be able to speak to other trainees because you've gone through that experience. So be positive, people. Be positive, and everything is going to work out for you.
No, absolutely, definitely. Absolutely, definitely. I passed second time. I feel your pain for those who failed, but trust me, you'll get there, and just don't give up. Fantastic, fantastic advice. And that is just so inspiring, okay? That, you know, kind of like she didn't pass the first time, okay? Pass the second time. This is someone who understands your pain, okay? And is a perfect example. You will get there in the end, guys. You will absolutely get there. Tips for November attempts. Okay, so in terms kind of like of tips, okay, I would say structure your revision. Okay, I'll quickly kind of like explain kind of like what I've done essentially to how to prepare for my exam. So I had a structure, okay? I had a timetable. I was very strict with my timetable, okay? I was very disciplined, okay? Literally, I was like, I must get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I must have my breakfast at this time, okay? And so my exam was with Pearson VUE. So I didn't have like the same provider as such. So it was online, but it was Pearson VUE. I remember my exam was about a month delayed because of COVID. And my exam was starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I made sure I started my calculations at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I done calculations for 2 hours straight. I then took an hour break. And then I started working on clinical. So in terms of my revision, so I done a topic on clinical, then a topic of OTC, then a topic on MEP as well. So I done that on a daily basis if I wasn't working. If I was working at my trainee place, I used to get up in the morning, do a couple of questions on calculations, a little bit of a clinical topic in the morning. In the evening, I'll do like one OTC and one MEP topic, couple of calculations, pass out, go to bed, repeat. That's kind of like essentially what my schedule was. In terms of kind of like other tips, kind of like for the calculations paper, is really important to pay attention to rounding in the questions, okay, because the question will always say give your answer to 1 decimal place or give your answer to 2 decimal places, okay. Pay attention to that, okay, because it's so easy to lose marks, okay, kind of like just by, you know, skim reading, and very naturally you'll skim read and you miss that part. Okay, make sure you pay attention to that. It might be worth highlighting that section first with the highlighter tool on the computer system. So you know, okay, I've highlighted it, my brain's engaged with it, okay, I know it needs to be to 1 decimal place. Or is the question actually asking me about a displacement volume or the water volume to add to a vial? Okay, so just make sure what the question is actually asking you, okay. And also in terms of calculations, sometimes the calculations are quite wordy. You know, kind of like I just picked out this particular information that I needed. Timing is really important as well for the November, like not just for the November exam, but for any exam. Timing, okay? So 3 minutes per calculation question, and you've got about a minute or so kind of like for the clinical paper. Timing is really key. I timed myself with calculations from the beginning. I used the same calculator. I still use the same calculator I had as my trainee pharmacist. When I was doing my calculations, I used the same calculator that I was going to bring into the exam. Just so then, I know it sounds a bit crazy, but it's like when your fingers get comfortable with a calculator, okay? And then, if you go into an exam and you have a different calculator, you kind of like get worried if you're pressing the right buttons. Like, I don't know if anyone else gets this anxiety, but that's the anxiety that I get. I do my calculations with the same calculator I'm going to bring into the exam. Yeah, so timing is really important, having that structure, but also taking breaks for yourself and looking after yourself, okay? Looking after yourself. So many times I gave myself an information overload and then I ended up not being able to take in much more and ended up crying, okay? Having, kind of like those regular breaks from revision, okay, to switch your brain off and get back into revision again. The breaks are important, okay? When you go into an information overload, you're not going to be able to absorb all of that information and keep it staying within your long-term memory store. Do those tips help in terms of just general tips kind of like for the Gphc exam?
Yeah, those are very, very good tips. Really good tips, Georgina. Really good tips. It was Geetha. Yeah, I'm gonna also share with you some tips as well, which are very similar to what Georgina has just mentioned. I would say like what I normally say to a lot of trainees, either if you failed the exam, that's mainly if you failed the exam before until you're sitting in November. The first question you want to ask yourself is, if you've sat the exam before, we always say in order to get a new result, you need to do something new, right? You cannot do the same thing expecting a different result. So the first question you want to ask yourself, if you fail this exam, say now, and you're going to do it in November, what can I do differently, right? What would you do differently in the way you study? So it could be, these are the things. It could be number one, having a plan. What was your plan like? So the first thing is look at what you can do differently. Number two, you definitely need to have a very good structured plan. When I talk about a plan that is so good, so detailed, where it takes you all the way to your exam. You know exactly what you need to study today, how many questions you need to do, what topic you need to do. And you need to know that all the way for the next coming weeks or months. And then the next thing is you have to be very disciplined to make sure you stick to the plan. If you can do that, you're almost halfway there, right? So take the action, have a good plan. The next thing is you need very good notes, all right? Because you guys all know that good notes make your life easy, right? So if you have good MEP notes, you have good clinical notes, good calculation notes, that's almost halfway there, right? You need to have good notes. Make sure you have a good buddy or partner or group. Okay? Don't do it on your own. Be part of a group. And a group could just be one person. But you need to have someone to buddy up with, or a group that you can always go back to, and that's going to support you, because many trainees pass simply because they were part of this study group. So make sure you don't do this on your own. And then the next thing is, which is a very, very big one, which many people underestimate, practice questions. You've got to do questions, questions, questions. That's why it's good to have a group and someone with a buddy that you could do the questions with. But questions are so important to keep testing yourself and keep testing yourself all the way from the start, all the way to exam. And then the final part is the one that everyone neglects again. It's up there. It's your mental state. All of these things we talk about, revising, studying, having a plan, doing this every day, it's all mentally draining. Especially if you're working, it's really tough. So you have to ask yourself, what mechanisms have you got to keep you motivated? Who's going to lift you up when you feel down? When you do those past questions and you're failing all of them, when you feel like you're having a mental breakdown, when you feel like you're having information overload, who is the person that's going to lift you up? Where are you going to get that positivity from? So you need to have that as well. You need to have someone or somewhere or some group or some video that will keep giving you that motivation mentally. And if you put all those together, 100%, you smash the exam. 100%.
No, that's absolutely top solid advice. Absolutely top. Okay, so Nicole, I passed second time. It's a knock to your confidence. Last 8 months before passing this June exam, I studied regulatory affairs and now work for a top pharmaceutical company as a regulatory specialist. Ah, yes.
Yeah, Nicole, can you get me a job, please?
Now that's absolutely smashing. Well done, Nicole. That's absolutely smashing. Okay.
Do you know, Georgina, do you know the best webinar that we could have? Or it would be nice to see this if pharmacy can actually do this. It would be interesting if there was ever a webinar or a conference that is based on all pharmacists, those that failed the exam, and what they've gone on to do. Like, it would be great if you had like
yes.
a conference just based on proper alternative careers for pharmacists, but not just alternative careers, those that haven't made it, that failed the final exam, the third attempt, and then see where they've been and the success. That will be a good one. Maybe we should organize that.
Yes,
Maybe we should organize that. That would be very inspirational. But I think that's going to really inspire a lot of people to know that there's always hope after pharmacy.
Okay, so why is there no much support for the November sitting as people get for the June assessors, either in terms of mocks provided by different providers or passing mocks?
I can answer this one. I can answer this one. I can answer this one. We're changing this because we do help support. But a few years ago, we actually had a talk on this. And I think one of the reasons is, number one, you have fewer students doing in November, a lot less students for the November exam compared to the June exam. Number two, by the time you start the November exam, at the same time, the newcomers have started. So many training companies, because they have the new intake of trainees that start in the new foundation year, and that's happening alongside with the November trainees, they tend to be less ignored because of diverted attention. So like for us, for example, we start the combo course around August, September, right? So September, but around that time as well, once we start the course, the November exam has not happened yet. So there's a lot going on because you have two other courses, groups going on at the same time, November exam. You have fewer students doing the November exam, and that's the reason why they don't get as much attention compared to the June exam, where everyone is sitting this exam, everyone is doing the same thing, and that's the reason why. But we continue to support November trainees. So we always have things for November students. So rest assured that definitely Pre-Req Shortcuts will continue to support you. But it is true that you see it's less for most training providers. They sort of focus on June. And then once the June exam is done, that's basically it. Maybe they might have a mock here and there or something, but the buzz is totally different from the November exam.
It's fantastic. Smashing. Okay, so Nicole says, I passed second time. What I did differently was at least do 10 counts and 30 clinical questions per day. Create flashcards for each disease of first, second, and third line treatments. Do past papers. Smashing. That's really, really good advice. Absolutely smashing. That's absolutely fantastic advice. Okay, because practicing questions is actually really, really good. Okay, I think I feel it's like the first webinar I've done with you, Marvin. It's like when it was the first webinar, like back in, it was a long, long time ago. And I talk about pattern recognition and calculations. That is why I always say practice the calculations, about pattern recognition with calcs, understanding kind of like where is this question coming into the Gphc framework, and what's the method to actually solve that type of question, and that you just need to apply that method to that, and then you actually get your answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Fantastic. And the world is your oyster, but don't lose hope. Fantastic. That's really, really good advice. Okay, never lose hope. Pre-Req Shortcuts helps me heaps to pass. The community they have is amazing. Oh, that's fantastic.
Manjot. Manjot is great.
That's really lovely.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Oh, nice.
The MEP and OTC course is amazing, and so is the clinical content. Maths I use less, but mainly marks. You got this, guys. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. You're just starting your pre-reg year. You got a big year ahead of you, okay? you're starting early. Look, you're already on here about the GBHC exam results. You're starting early. You're already thinking ahead. Okay.
Absolutely.
Prep yourself. Have like a timetable in place. Okay. I think another tip is that I was saying in training years that some training companies want you to do kind of like their own kind of like training or online training first. Get that out of the way as quickly as possible. Okay. And then essentially you can focus on essentially focusing kind of like on the course and preparing kind of like for the GBHC exam.
Now that was very good. NDX. All I could say is congratulations. You're here early. You're starting.
Yes.
That's the attitude. Be consistent. Start early and you'll be there, right? Start early, be consistent, just do what you're doing. Well done. Thanks for joining in today.
Okay. I failed my second attempt. I'm worried for the third. I'm sure so many trainees have actually felt like this, okay? But today I got messages from 2 trainees. Actually, no, sorry, 3 trainees. I have to correct myself. All 3 of them were on their last attempt, okay? And they all passed. They all finally done it on their last attempt. So I can totally understand kind of like the anxiety and the worry that you may have for the third attempt, okay? But people do pass on their third attempt. They do, okay? They definitely do pass on their third attempt, okay? Don't lose hope, okay? You will get there.
Definitely. As we mentioned, do something different. All right? Always ask yourself, if you want to get a different result, you need to take a new action. What can you do differently? Right? What do you have to do differently in order to pass? And it's surprising, Georgina, when I speak to a lot of trainees and I ask them this question, it's interesting because many of trainees, when I ask them, what do you think you need to do differently? They actually have the solutions. When you think about it, you go like, oh yeah, maybe I need to spend more time. I wasn't spending enough hours. I wasn't revising the group. I didn't join a very good course. So you have the solutions in you. You will know exactly what you need to do to improve. So all I'm going to say is make sure that whatever happens, you are taking a different action from the actions that you took for the first and the second attempt, and you will be fine. Okay, Chi, for instance, says, for my second attempt, I was stricter. I aim for 90 and above for clinical and 30 and above for CARCs. So you've got to change something. And once you change something, maybe becoming stricter, maybe answering more questions. Some of you, sometimes in November, you may be off work. Right? So for some people, work is one of your biggest distractions. I've had trainees that have failed exam because they're so busy, work and balancing everything. And then they finish work, they've done the November exam, and all of a sudden, they smashed the exam because less distractions. So just try to see why you failed in the first place, and what is it that you can change. There you go, Manjot. Yeah. So set high expectations for yourself, challenge yourself.
Okay, so being a NOSPAP student has been a long journey for me, but Marvin, Uma, and Georgina are magic. Oh, listen to what they say. Practice calculation on a daily basis, no matter what, and you will be good to go. Oh, absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Unib. Thanks for that. And by the way, you look amazing, dude. Look at that photo. Unib, I must admit, you look so executive. You look like the superintendent of Boots. You're successful already. You just look successful. You just look successful. I love the photo. You look successful. Well done. Congratulations to you. Really proud of you.
Okay, for newly qualified, I don't think community hospital and primary care are your only opportunities. Exactly that. They're not your only. You don't have to be stuck, okay, in any of these, okay? Essentially, build that portfolio, okay, and actually developing your career, okay? And I think that's the bonus about pharmacy, because essentially it's like a bit of an open book. You have so many opportunities, okay? So many opportunities that essentially come back, and job roles that you didn't even think essentially that could be possible with an MPharm degree, okay? And essentially, I think that's the bonus about kind of like, social media like LinkedIn, where you have recruiters, okay? You have recruiters on LinkedIn, okay? And they advertise job roles essentially, and you think, wow, I didn't know that you could actually do that. Kind of like, and it's the best form of actually kind of like developing your career as well. Okay. Wow. So well done to all of you. Okay. So also well done for even sitting the exam in the first place. Okay, it takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage to actually sit down and do that exam. Okay, so well done to all of you for sitting the exam. congratulations to everyone who has actually passed the exam today, okay? But if today you didn't pass the exam, you didn't get the result essentially that you was hoping for, don't lose hope, okay? Whether it's going to be, whether you've got like whether it's your first attempt or second attempt or third attempt, okay, there is always going to be options for you, and the pre-read shortcuts are always here to support you.
Absolutely. And those are some links Georgina has put up there for you. So yes, if you didn't pass the exam, there's a lot of help out there for yourself. A lot of help. Never feel on your own. You've got PDA, you've got pharmacy support, you've got the RPS, you've got Samaritans. So there are places where you could get some support. All right. And then Get Stronger. This is just a little knock, but you can pick yourself up and you could make it. All right. The most successful people in life have been through so many failures. All right. You look at Bill Gates, right? Who's the guy who started KFC and all this? There's Oprah Winfrey, right? Some of the greatest people, right, have actually had loads of failures. But don't look at it like a failure. Look at it like a learning experience, right? So what you've done, if you've learned something new that has made you stronger, always stay positive. Let an exam not define you. Those of you that have passed, you will have different challenges going into the workplace, working on a day-to-day basis, but the same message applies to you. Never let anyone make you feel less than you deserve. Right? Never let anyone make you feel less than you deserve. Right? And let no one define you. Define yourself. Right? You are excellent. You are amazing. And you've come this far for a reason. Okay? So please remember that and keep your head high. Go out there and make your life the success that you deserve. That's it for me.
Fantastic last words, Marvin. Okay, so guys, I hope you've actually found that useful. Okay, really hope that you found that useful, guys. Congratulations to all of you who have passed your exam today. I hope you're all really proud of yourselves. Okay, and whoever, and if you didn't get the result that you was expecting, okay, you know, kind of like grieve, go through that process. Okay, brush yourself off, get up and smash at it again. Okay, because we have faith in you. Okay, and there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, take care, everyone. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thank you, Georgina. You've been amazing as always.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, everyone.